Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, channel audience, welcome to another episode of Tatami Talk. My name is Juan. This is my partner, Anthony, the Judo Podcast for Judo players by two Judo players. So, Anthony, I know how you're doing. You're very tired and sick. And it's going to be our main topic today. So I kind of want to talk about that right now. Is there anything else that's been going on with you that you want to talk about before we get to that?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know what's going on anymore. Like there's that balloon thing that's been happening and yeah. There was something else I was gonna say. I just don't remember what happened. Oh, the weather's been unusually cold here, which is really weird. I'm not used to how like for the last I moved back to LA for 5 years now, I think 5-6 years. And it's only been this cold for like a week max, maybe. Right. And it's been a few months. So it feels like it's actually winter, which is something I'm not used to. I'm sure the locals here would probably tell me this is normal and the last 5 years has been abnormal or something, but
no. I don't think. I have a little joke that Los Angeles knows that. Okay, so Los Angeles is only cold for 2 weeks, Christmas and New Year's. They knows during Christmas and New Year's it's supposed to be cold. So before Christmas and New Year's, we're like 70-degree winter. Okay, our 70-degree winter. Then it comes Christmas time. Oh, we get down to like low 60s, almost 50s. Like, oh, it's chilly. It's winter. It's Christmas, New Year's. Then after that, boom, back to 70 again.
Yeah, so it was normal. What I experienced is it gets cold for like a few days or a week at a time, and then boom, it's back to 60s, right? But it's been like what 40s, 50s, and as other people who live in cold climates, it hurts to fall on mats when it's cold. So there were a few nights where I'm like in my judo gi where I'm like, oh, it's so cold.
The worst, like I don't mind hitting the mats when they're cold and stuff. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is my feet getting cold. And it's like that hurts more when I hit my feet when they get cold, like on a cold day. And someone will be like, oh, let's open up the doors. Like, no, don't open up the doors.
Well, my fingers get cold really easily. And when you grab, that one person who has that old school double weave, triple weave, whatever, starched their gi, hung it out to dry in the sun. And if you're grabbing that kind of tortoiseshell armor gi, it's just like really, really hard to deal with. It's funny.
We're complaining about like high 40s, low 50s right now. There's people like in the snow out there in the Midwest right now.
People training in Mount Everest now with that Mount Everest dojo up there. Like, not Mount Everest.
These guys don't know what they got.
Everest. Yeah.
Everest.
It's not at the top of Mount Everest. It's like on like in that region. Yeah. So the IGF has been promoting it. So.
Oh my God, really? No, I guess it's a new destination to go train at.
Yeah, so, they made a whole series. They made a whole series on how they were donating mats and judo gi to the village there, and they were like using helicopters to airlift the judo mats into like this little hut up there, so kids living up in the mountains there can train judo. So,
see, that brings up a good question about because those kids, if they get really good at judo, their cardio will be amazing.
Oh yeah,
their cardio should be like crazy good.
It'll be funny if they convert people talk about that club into a BJJ club with mats.
Like we give them all that stuff, turn into a BJJ. Some BJJ guys that hike up there just take it over. All right. Well, speaking of the IGF, some of you guys that keep up with the IGF tournament scene, and some of you may not, but just to let you guys know. So we've already had one major tournament of the year so far. It was the Portugal Grand Prix. Was it the Grand Prix?
Yeah,
the Portugal Grand Prix. That happened in Portugal. Don't ask me what city it was. I'm not going to look it up right now. My problem is that I tried to look up the schedule and they really didn't have a full schedule up. So it's like whenever they announce these tournaments, like last year, I went through the entire schedule for everybody to go through. But this year, they really didn't put anything up. So far, we had the Portugal Grand Prix that if you want to go look at those highlights, there's some good matches there. Look at those highlights. Unless you bought an NFT or you're paying for that 1 year subscription. We're talking about the NFTs again. We were talking about that last night. Or get that 1 year subscription on the IGF website so you can watch all the matches there. So, Anthony, how is that Blue Lion working out for you? Have you sold it yet?
No, nobody's giving me an offer. I was like, nobody wants to be called a Blue Lion at the dojo. Like,
No one wants
no one's been calling me that. Well, no one's been calling me that in the dojo on the judo mats, but people have been mockingly calling me that outside of the dojo. So, or they'll be like, well, what was that thing? Like the black tiger, the red. So, funny story. If you follow, I guess Peter didn't make it to that episode, huh? The trivia. Peter, a guy at our dojo, was a comedian. So he actually jokingly wrote, well, I don't know if it's jokingly anymore, but wrote a screenplay, I guess, a script on a pilot on called A Red Line. It's like a judo anime-esque, like action thriller mystery kind of thing. And I don't like reading fiction, and I read the whole thing just because it was funny.
Yeah.
And I showed it to my wife, and she read it, and she loved it. And now it's like almost a year later, 8 months later, 9 months. I still have my IGF subscription, so I assume it's like 8 months later. He is like in a couple of like online places where you submit your pilot stories and stuff, and he's like in the semifinals or something like that in a few of them.
Wow.
So yeah, that's just an interesting story that it actually is. Hopefully it becomes a movie. I don't know, but maybe they won't be.
So if you see Red Lion, so if you see the Judo Red Lion on Netflix next year, you know where it came from. It came from us, actually. Okay, it's actually about Anthony. So the Portugal Grand Prix just happened, but what's happening right now as we're talking is one of the biggest tournaments of the year. I would say top 3 tournaments of the year is the Paris Grand Slam. And we actually had one of our I want to say members, but a guy who trains at our dojo, Isaiah. He's on the U.S. national team. He actually got to buy the first round, so that's good. So win, yay, maybe. I don't know how do you yay for. So he got by in the first round, but he lost the second match in the second round, so that's too bad. But the U.S. had a couple people win their first matches, which is good for them.
There's another. I think there was a person that won 2 matches. Yeah, I remember checking it out.
As of today, this would be Sunday. As of today that we're recording this, the U.S. has a medal. So not that great for the U.S., but hey, great for everybody else. Actually funny. Have you seen Teddy Reiner's new gi?
No, is it still Under Armour?
It's still.
Wait, is he fighting now? Because I don't think they got to his weight class yet.
No, but he put a gi up of. He put some picture. It might have been a training camp then, but he put a picture of him training people with a new gi, and he has like it's like soccer. He has like 7 stars all around his patch now.
I'm like trying to look it up now. So.
I'm assuming that's for every world championship he's won.
Wow, that's so. I don't know, pretentious a little bit. Sorry.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. It's the France logo. It's just normal gi with the France logo with stars.
Yeah, but you see all the stars around it?
Yeah. I see it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting.
I thought it was interesting.
That's very
Anthony's not impressed by it. I was impressed.
It's his own brand of gi.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it has an R on it, so I assume it's his own brand. It's
the Teddy Reiner collection. Made by Fuji or not by Fuji, definitely not made by Fuji.
No, I see if I scroll down his Instagram, I see a white, because in the picture you're talking about, he's wearing a blue one. But if you scroll down far enough, there's a white version of it and there's an R. Oh, Fight Art. It's not his own brand. Fight Art. Maybe it's not his own brand. I just thought the R was near, but it's Fight Art. But the logo reminds me of Team Rocket from Pokemon.
It's the weird thing how the French team, and no one can explain this to me. Someone please explain this to me. Why the French have the rooster on there? It's just a rooster, I think. I think that's what you're looking at. It's a rooster.
Is it a rooster?
The way they have their stylized new rooster now.
Oh, okay. I'll find it. I'll probably find out for our next episode. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that's going on right now. Paris Grand Slam. So again, if you have your NFT, you got it for a year, so you can watch the matches there, watch the highlights on YouTube, you can find them there. Or if you just pay for the package, you watch it there as well. Anthony's got the NFT thing, so he watches them there. I watch the highlights.
I'll be honest, I haven't been watching any of them because most of my favorite athletes aren't fighting. And then, I don't know, the rules were I was just getting sick of some of the calls, and it seems like I was right. Like people were talking about there's a lot of weird Cheetos. And if you follow Nonstop Nawaz's channel, which I do, I recommended it like in that past episode I talked about, he talks about all these like missed leg grab calls, not leg grab, sleeve fingers and sleeve calls, and all these weird calls. So I'm just like, I'm glad I didn't watch that. But so you know what I did see a lot from the highlights was the Huizinga roll.
What?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen that happen in a long time. Like, I was like, why do people just stop doing it? Like, I was curious why to stop doing it. I was like, maybe they're more strict on the shoulder thing. Because when I was practicing that roll for my black belt test, I'm like, this messes my shoulder. I feel like I have to roll or it messes my shoulder. And I think I saw it happen 2 or 3 times in this tournament, that roll. And one of them, the guy totally ripped the shoulder apart. So I don't know how that is legal, honestly.
Should have tapped or rolled. Your choice.
Yeah, I was always wondering why that roll is legal, because it does mess with your shoulder. But I guess it's kind of like udegarami, like kind of thing. So we're not going to discuss
it'll come
that.
up next year, I bet. Actually, no, it'll come up whenever the Olympics is. It'll come up the year after the Olympics will come up, probably.
Yeah, I think if people continue to do it, yeah.
If people continue using it, it becomes a popular thing, and people keep hurting themselves, then it might come up after the Olympics, after the Paris Olympics, and who knows, it'll be disqualified then. Great. Yeah. Thank you, Anthony. Are you happy now? You got another move disqualified? God, bring up all these bad things. So that's happening right now. There was something else I wanted to talk about before I got to the main topics. Did you get to catch any of the Bellator last night? That also
no, I was asleep. I was passed out.
So some of you guys may or may not know the Bellator was on CBS last night. It was kind of a big deal for MMA.
It was on CBS.
Wow. Broadcast. Yeah. They had 3 matches.
Really big. That's a really big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was on broadcast, and the whole thing was that it was going to be Fedor's last match, which this is like Fedor's 3rd retirement match now. Like,
I was going to say, how old is he? Like 65?
I think he's late. Look it up. You got your computer. You got your second monitor in front of you. I think he's like maybe 40. I want to say 45, 46.
46. Yeah.
46. Yeah. So he's 46 because they kept on saying that if he wins this match, because it was against Ryan Bader for the Bellator Heavyweight Championship, if he wins this match, he will be MMA's oldest champion, which Randy Couture has that at 42 or 43. I think Randy got his last championship.
Wow.
So they're trying to be like, if he wins, which I really didn't give him a big shot at winning. Like he has that puncher's chance. He has that dynamite in his hand, so he has that chance. But I just didn't see him winning personally. But yeah, they're talking about that, how this is a big deal. And for some people out there who don't know, Fedor was this great MMA fighter back in the day when Pride was still around, and Pride FC. Some of you don't know what that, because that's another thing. I'll sometimes say Pride rules or Pride don't die. And I'll say to some people like, what's that? Like, oh my God, I'm so old. You don't know what Pride is.
Oh my God. I miss Pride.
Yeah. But so he was one of the biggest champions. He was only one of 2, or was it 2 or 3 Pride? Pride only had, so it was Mark Coleman won the Grand Prix. Then Nogueira beat him, I think, to become the official heavyweight champion. And then Fedor won that from him. So it was like only 3 Pride's ever champions. One of the greatest fighters of all time, double-digit records and wins, single-digit. Like he only has like 5 or 6 losses, if that, in his career. But just doing his last match, the last Emperor. And again, he's a Sambo player, but he's also a judo player also. So he's connected to us still, Sambo, Russian judo used to be called back in the day, which we might get to in a little bit. We get talking to that, but it was a good match. I believe it ended again in the first round, Bader by TKO. But yeah, it's like a bittersweet moment because it's the end of an era. It's like one of the last real Pride guys to go out there and fight. I don't know how many real Pride fighters are still out there nowadays. Some people might say like, well, Gegard Mousasi's still fighting, but Gegard was like he fought in Pride, but he was like a Pride. You don't think of Gegard Mousasi, you think of Pride.
Yeah.
I think of Strikeforce, I think Gegard actually, or Dream.
I was really hoping one champ. We're going to talk about one event later, but I was hoping one was going to be like a Pride thing, like a good replacement for Pride. But it seems like they decided to go the other route, which is still, I still like one better than UFC, but yeah, that's a different topic.
It depends on what rule set you prefer, how they fight. Like one does have some very interesting things, like how they'll sometimes fight in a round cage, a circle cage, and then sometimes they'll fight in ring. Have a 4 or 5 rope ring. Sometimes they'll fight in. But I've noticed that they've gone more towards the cages more often now. They're not doing the rings like they used to.
The cages is more interesting, I think. I do think that's it does bring in the wrestling thing a little bit, so and there's no corners. So it just really makes the footwork and spacing and all that kind of stuff really interesting, I think.
Yeah, you can't just put someone in a corner and keep them there. Yeah. That's a big thing people talk about. One of the biggest difference between rings and cages are. But yeah, so Fedor lost sadly, but he retired.
Which is sorry, it was really funny that you called it like the ring is a ring and the cage is a cage because the ring is in a ring, like it's a square and the cage is a ring. So,
have you ever heard of this saying, the squared circle?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's a subreddit for professional wrestling.
Yeah. Well, it's a big pro wrestling term, and I do hear it sometimes in boxing as well. I've heard it before. It's like the squared circle, and it's like, how can a square be circle? But it's just a weird thing that we use. Just what would you call, like an oxymoron that we use?
Yep.
The squared circle. An interesting thing is that, so one of the last things that Fedor that they asked him is that, Fedor, so you're retiring. This is going to be your last match. Would you like to put your gloves on the mat? And Fedor like gave him this look of like, why would I put my gloves on the mat? Because, he doesn't speak English. He speaks Russian, probably speaks a little bit of like broken English. And his translator's translating to him. He's like hesitating, like, what do we do? Then his translator had explained to him, oh, it's an American thing. And if you don't know where it comes from wrestling. And I think it mostly comes from American wrestling, where when a wrestler at the Olympics or World Championships would retire their last match, they will take their shoes off and leave in the ring to signify, I'm done. I'm leaving my shoes here. I'm retiring from wrestling. Which, because in America we have so many wrestlers that go in MMA wrestlers started doing that they would, during the retirement match, they would take their gloves off, they'd give a little speech, put them in the middle of the mat, being like, I'm done. Which I've seen a lot of MMA retirements finish that way. Yeah. And then 2 months later, they announced their first fight for BKFC or something.
Slap boxing.
Yeah, slap boxing. So it's funny because they had to explain it to Fedor, and Fedor was like, oh, you see it in his face, like, oh, okay. He's like, oh, yeah. And then he puts it down and he says, thank you, everybody. And one of the, I don't know what you call them, color commentators or the booth announcers, the female one that was there with them that day was last night was saying like, oh, it kind of looked like Fedor didn't want to retire because it took him a while to take his gloves off. And another color commentator, I'd tell like, no, this is an American thing. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on here. All right. So it's like, hey, woman, don't try to talk down Fedor right now. Okay. It's his moment. Don't try to talk some shit right now. All right. So it was very fun to me. It was like just this interesting thing, seeing him retire again. I will give that again, because I swear this is his third retirement fight now. Because he had one a few years ago in Bellator, I think. And then he had one in Russia. And now he had another one in Bellator. But let's see if this one sticks.
It's like, what was that animator Miyazaki saying he's retiring. This is the last movie he's going to make. And then he makes another one. Happened 7 or 8 times already. So
I thought you were going to say it's like Dragon Ball. Like, oh no, this is Dragon Ball Z. That's it. We're not doing anything at Dragon Ball Z. Okay. With GT, we're done with GT. No more GT. Okay. What's the last one just came out? Tenkai, whatever that one. No, that one's done. That's the last one. No. Okay, this one that we're coming out now. I swear. Super's done. Okay, so once you're done with Super, we're not making anything else after Super. All right, I got one more movie, guys. I got one more movie idea. So that was interesting. I came up with this interesting because to me, it's just this cool thing. Fedor's been around for so long. The last emperor took him forever to get knocked out. He's only lost, like I said, a handful of times. So it's just this end of an era. Pride never dies, but pride is fading away. So now into some interesting, what would you call it? Law? Into our law section now.
Law section.
So Anthony, since you have the article up already, or you said, did you have it up? You said?
I read it earlier. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. So see if I can go off the top of my head if I can remember all this.
The short story is one championship is being sued for breaking some Thai law, I guess, about holding Muay Thai promotions. Because I'm assuming they have just like here, there's regulations here for our sports too, every state in America. That's why we have shitty judges. But
oh God.
No. So they have laws where saying like what a Muay Thai fight has to be like, basically. I think that was the gist of what I read. Yeah. So they're getting sued for violating the Boxing Association of Thailand is taking legal action against one championship for putting a twist on traditional Muay Thai, which is when I first read that headline a few weeks ago, not even a few weeks. This is like almost a month ago now. I was like, what? I'm like, they've been doing this for how long now? Like 3. Why did they just decide to sue them? And back when I was training Muay Thai, I was watching a lot of fight promotions and stuff, but it's kind of hard to find like legit Thai fights to watch on the internet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying like for some random YouTube, some random guy that recorded a YouTube clip went on his trip to Thailand or something like that. But I'm talking about like a UFC Fight Pass kind of thing. Like, there wasn't really that many. And of the few promotions that I was watching, I think one was called Muay Thai Max or Muay Thai Extreme or something like that. They don't follow the traditional Muay Thai thing at all. So I'm just like, why aren't those people getting sued? But apparently, after reading some comments, like other people had the same thoughts as I did. Even though I didn't want to say anything because I haven't trained Muay Thai in a long time. So yeah, it was just so they're specifically targeting one, and it's clear to everyone that they see them as a threat, I think.
Yes.
But on the other end of things, a lot of people were saying like they're tarnishing Muay Thai's name because they're fighting with like the wrong size gloves. Though there is rope fighting, remember, like the old school Muay Thai rope fighting, just like in blood sports, not without the glass though. But
no, that's kickboxer. Okay.
Yeah. So they're saying they're talking about not like the rounds being different, the scoring rules being different. I think there's always been like this, same as judo. There's been this tug of war between the camp of saying we need to keep it traditional, and there's the camp saying we need to grow Muay Thai, otherwise it's gonna die, and we got to like change the rules to match the international audience. And you know, the music that they play throughout the whole thing, the Thai music, that's like, I guess one of the requirements. I'm not sure. That's one of the requirements for calling it Muay Thai, I guess. And a lot of foreigners get turned off by it. Imagine watching that whole fight and you hear that in the background. That turns off a lot of other people. I don't care personally. I like it, but it turns off a lot of people from watching Muay Thai. Plus I'm not 100% sure on the scoring, so don't take my word for it. But I do know the scoring tends to get very confusing to foreigners because they punch, like other people will look at punches and stuff, or they'll be like, why are they doing that? Why are they doing this? Like, why are they punching there? Why are they just kicking? Why are they just like clinching and kneeing? Because kicks and knees score a lot of points, and also dumps and takedowns. So as far as I know, so you're not going to see a lot of like straight up punching brawls that you see happen, or like the calculated like distance fighting that you sometimes see in MMA. You know what I'm talking about. So some people don't like that kind of scoring system, and they'll be like, well, that guy dominated that guy the whole fight. How did he win? It's because the scoring system was like different too. They also don't put into account that gambling is a huge part of Muay Thai in the culture. So when a lot of people are like, well, the Thais like to start off slow and then like come in heavy hard at the end, is because they're trying to like change the odds early on, and then towards the end that's when they like try and come back hard so they can like win more, because the bookies like give them a share or cut or something like that. So yeah, there's just a lot of culture stuff I'm not super familiar with. I just heard or read and yeah, I don't know why they're suing them. Just it has to be see them as a threat, and they probably want to retain power too. Like they probably don't want them to like partially to change Muay Thai in the country.
So to me, what you can see the visual differences, at least when they have these fights, is that, okay, so when they were talking about One Championships, is that when One Championships first started, they were just another MMA federation.
Mm-hmm.
But they decided to change it up. They're like, okay, well, we're going to start having kickboxing matches. Oh, we're going to start having Muay Thai matches.
I hate kickboxing matches, by the way. I can't stand watching them.
We're going to have, and now what they're doing now, they bring these grappling matches now to change it. So they're more of a martial art fighting federation, not just an MMA federation. So because they are an MMA federation, first and foremost, let's just be honest with ourselves. Like we talked about before, sometimes they fight in a ring, sometimes they fight in a cage. So sometimes they'll have these matches, these Muay Thai matches in cages, which right there to Muay Thai practitioners or the Muay Thai people, it's like, hey, you can't call it Muay Thai when you're fighting in a cage like this. That's not Muay Thai anymore. That's something else. Then what else does One Championship change that? Sometimes I'll have them fight in gloves, the 12-ounce gloves that they're supposed to. I assume they're 12 ounces. I don't know. Could be more or less 16, whatever. They have them fight in gloves sometimes. And they have sometimes, okay, we'll have Muay Thai matches with MMA gloves. So now they're fighting with MMA gloves, which I can understand with them being like, oh, this isn't Muay Thai anymore. They're using different gloves. But as you brought up about the hand wraps, the rope wraps, and they have those matches. So
I guess that's probably part of the law. Like the law probably covers that part. Like this is traditional because that's just how they fought back then, kind of thing. So
yeah. So I can already see right there. Okay, they're not fighting it. They're not fighting in a ring. They're fighting in a cage. All right. They're not using boxing gloves they're supposed to. Now they're using MMA gloves. I don't know if that's to make it easier, make it more interesting to people. And
I think it's more interesting personally.
Yeah. So those two things right there are already two visual differences, not to talk about just the changes in a judging, because you do know a good strike is a good strike in most judges' eyes, whether it's from a punch, a knee, an elbow, a kick. Where I know from doing Muay Thai myself when I was younger, kicks and knees are supposed to score higher. Punches, because punching is the same thing where like in karate where anyone can punch to the face. To kick to the face, it takes skill. So in Muay Thai, anybody can punch someone in the face, but to kick them using their knees and body kicks, that takes more skills. That's why like punching is considered like almost easier. Like it's not, I'm not saying it is. I don't know people coming at me. All right. I'm not saying it is, but it's just viewed that way. So even under Asian rules, MMA, punches are probably seen equal to kicking. So right there, they're probably a little upset there. So I can see that. The other thing that I read is that MMA is becoming more popular in Thailand. And one of the articles I read was saying that even in the Lumpini Stadium, they're almost having just as many MMA fights there as they're having kickboxing matches.
Yeah, as far as I heard, I didn't know this for a long time, but I read this somewhere that they were actually struggling financially.
Yeah,
due to all the scandals about like match fixing and all that kind of stuff. So that's why they partnered with One to bring Muay Thai back into Lumpini. So I guess some people are seeing this as like saving Muay Thai too, but I guess some people can see it also as like, imagine you start holding Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments in the Kodokan. Like some people might see it like that. Like,
I think, oh man, good. Give me a heart attack right there. You say that. I'm coming. Oh man, I'm dying here. I'm dying. God, is that you? But yeah, I can totally see that where maybe, you see it anyways.
I'm not saying that. That's why I think I'm saying some people they would see it like that.
Anthony would do this. Anthony would sell us out in a second for that BJJ money. No, but you do see that with judo clubs here where they'll have to team up with a BJJ guy like to teach twice a week or something to bring people in. But that's a thing for later. That's another episode we can talk about actually, our thoughts on that. But so I could see that. And this is their national sport. This is like Thailand is known for Muay Thai. They're known for, this is their one sport, their one thing they're known that they're good for. Not they're good for, like they're good for nothing else, just Muay Thai. They're good. This is the best thing that they do. This is their biggest thing they export, I guess, is Muay Thai. So when they're seeing their thing being perverted or changed in some way and being called Muay Thai still, they don't like that. They're like, if you want to do Muay Thai, you have to do it in a ring, using our gloves, using our scoring system.
And rules,
and if you don't understand
that, round rules and everything.
Rules. And if you don't understand that, that happens a lot around the world. Like, see, okay, me and Anthony live in California. The other day, we were going to buy champagne. All right. If you don't buy champagne that's not made in Champagne, France, it is not champagne. It is not the champagne. If you buy California champagne, it is technically not allowed to be called champagne. It is called, what is it called, Anthony?
Sparkling wine.
It's called California sparkling.
Yeah. So it's really funny because I went to where did I travel to? I went to visit my in-laws. I think that was what I did, and one of the family members was like, "Oh, can you pick up some champagne for tomorrow?" And then I was like, "Okay, yeah, it's fine. I can go drop by the store," because that was when I was visiting a dojo, and I was gonna pick it up on the way back. And she was like, "Make sure it's champagne and not sparkling." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I will make sure it's champagne and not sparkling." And I guess this is kind of like a off topic already, but I ended up going to the store and I sounded like a complete asshole for saying like, I'm looking for this brand, but apparently like it has to be champagne. It can't be sparkling. Like apparently that brand makes both a champagne and a sparkling. So that made it more confusing. So, but yeah, I can totally see that. So why don't they just call it not Muay Thai? That's what I was questioning. Just maybe the ONE FC president feels like he wants to spread or save Muay Thai in a way if it needs saving at all. I'm not sure. But he could just call it like,
okay, I want to hear this.
I'm trying maybe like modified Muay Thai or like Thai boxing, just call it Thai boxing.
We call it sparkling Thai. Sparkling
Thai. Glistening from the sweat. Ooh, glistening. No, like, but just change it to something else, like Thai boxing. Don't call it Muay Thai, just call it Thai boxing.
Thai kickboxing. Dude, no. This would be an asshole move to do. Let me call it Thai boxing. All right.
Thai boxing. Just, yeah, that would solve the problem, right? Wouldn't it? I don't know.
Well, the reason I bring this up is because us in judo, we had to, not us, like I mean, Anthony did this, but Kano went through the same thing of when he was expanding judo around the world. Now the legend goes that when I go to legend, but because there's many stories about how this came about, and I don't know which one's real and which one's not real.
If you're going to talk about Kano Jiu-Jitsu, I'm not going to talk to you about it. I'm still sick of hearing that myth already.
It's not a myth. It can't be a myth, dude.
If you read his books, Kano's books, he specifically says it was never ever called Kano Jiu-Jitsu.
But that's what other people referred it to. You know that Kano guy?
Because they read that book that was a fake book that's not about judo.
It's like in what was it? Sherlock Holmes, how they got two martial arts mixed up and they came up with Buki Jitsu or whatever that martial art that Sherlock Holmes does. But that's a different thing.
I don't mind. Sherlock Holmes does Wing Chun in the last movie I saw. So
that's the movie. But in the original books, he does some Buki Jitsu thing that they mixed up two names and came up with that supposedly. But okay, so when Kano was expanding judo around the world, and so everyone knows the one about the Gracies, okay? Maeda went out there. Maeda taught them judo. They became much better at jiu-jitsu, at the newaza aspect of judo. So they perfected that. They became very good at it, perfected it, and they started calling their martial art Brazilian Judo. Okay, that was the original name, was Brazilian Judo.
Yeah. I don't want. So this is what Juan's saying. All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Come at me. Give me
don't
heat.
say Juan and Anthony said that. I have no idea if it's true or not.
Juan said it. Give me all the heat. Come get it. All right. Come give it to me. Go ahead. Right. For I don't care. All right. I ain't scared. All right, homie. So the legend is that the legend continues. The story is that, so they started calling it Brazilian Judo, but Kano was like, they're not, Judo is my martial arts name. Okay. I own that name. That is my style's name. It's not a generic name like Jiu-Jitsu, karate and stuff like that. It is my ki or whatever. Yeah. It is my style's name. So you cannot change my style's name. So some people say that Kano sued them. Some say that Kano threatened Maeda. Some people say that Kano sent Yakuza over there to threaten him or something.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've heard these stories and stuff. The Yakuza one, I was just like, really? You think Kano had, I don't know, maybe he did. I didn't know.
He was holding a government position, so maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently Maeda told him that they cannot call it Brazilian Judo anymore because it is Kano's thing. You have to change the name. And that's how like Jiu-Jitsu came about, because Jiu-Jitsu, like we talked about Switch 4 in another I think last episode, where Jiu-Jitsu just means like martial art or martial way. And there's a lot of different variation people call it, but literally it is just Japanese for martial art. Okay. Martial art, martial way. So you're just going to call it Brazilian martial art. Okay. Or how the Gracies called it, Gracie martial art. And the Gracies had the same thing with that, with their own cousins, with the Machados. The Machados weren't allowed to teach Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So Machado's changed their name to instead of doing Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Some of them called it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Some of them just call it Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And that's why we have these names now, variations, because this is our style, our way of fighting. If you're not doing what we want or under us, you cannot have that name.
Imagine that happened nowadays. If you do your spam drop Seoi Nage style of judo, then you're like Klimke judo. Or like
she can't call it. It would be Klimke Jiu-Jitsu. All right.
If you just like muscle everyone around, then you're Teddy Raniere judo style. Like,
but yeah. So with that, same thing with the Russians. Like, so apparently with the Russian, they had a very similar thing where they were calling a Russian style judo as well when they're creating what's now called a sambo. And it was one of the guys are the father of sambo.
We're gonna get so many hate mail.
Hate me all you want. Look it up. This stuff actually happened. Okay. I'm not saying exactly how it happened. I'm giving you a good broad spectrum of how it happened. Look it up, read the books, look at the YouTube videos.
I will say the sambo thing confuses me the most.
Well,
because everything that they say, they're like, well, sambo's not actually judo. It's actually a little bit more complicated. And I read the history behind it. I'm like, it seems like they just took judo. Yeah.
Yeah. They took judo, kept the leg locks, add some striking to it, add a little bit of the Russian.
They combined it with other Soviet satellite states, folk style wrestling and plains wrestling kind of style into it, incorporated. So kind of like what Kano did, but they just started with judo was what I remembered. So judo. I don't know why they're saying they're not judo. Like, I'm just really confused by it.
The whole thing to me also is that when they all try to argue, like, no, we're not based on judo. No, we don't come from judo. For sambo guys, hey, that's a nice jacket you got on there. I don't remember seeing that. I don't remember that traditional jacket you're wearing there being in Russia, made out of judo-gi material and with a judo belt on that thing, a kimono top and a kimono belt. That's pretty judo you have on right there. And then BJJ people will be like, oh, well, I might get in trouble for this one. Did you ever hear that one? I can't remember which Gracie it was, said that their grandpa invented the BJJ gi, that they didn't steal it, they didn't take it from judo.
Oh my God. No, I didn't hear that.
Give me the heat, people. Give me the heat. I want it. All right. But even them, they tried to say like, oh, no, our gi came from something else, even though they call it a gi and it's just a slimmed down judo gi. Like, look at your guys' materials. Okay. Even karate guys, they know our gi came from judo. Okay. It's just a canvas style instead of the thick cotton jackets. All right. Kano created all this stuff. And no matter how much you try to hate, he did.
You can't say that, but you can't use that against sambo though, because, well, actually, I'm not saying sambo. I honestly do think sambo took out their base from judo, but I'm saying you can't look at the gi and say that that's the reason why that's proof, because if you look at like, there's what martial art called Karash is like Uzbekistan's belt wrestling. I'm sure that definitely came before judo, right? Because it's like their old school folk wrestling, belt wrestling style. They now incorporate to grow the sport. They incorporate the gi and the scoring rules that are basically Ippon, Wazari, Yuko. Like they just call it different things. And they copied the judo sport, but in terms of the jacket and the rules and the ref and the mats and everything, but it's definitely came before judo. So I just think that aspect you can't really use as evidence. So
what's that? And I brought it up before, and they literally do call it Chinese judo.
Shoujiao. They don't call it Chinese judo. Who calls it Chinese judo?
Everyone calls it Chinese judo.
No, Shoujiao is just like is like saying wrestling, grappling. It's like a very umbrella. It's a very, in Chinese is an umbrella term.
I thought
Sanda just like means it's just like something the government came up to like mix everything up. So yeah, let's just stop right there before we get into piss off other martial arts circle talking about stuff.
So Anthony's saying all this stuff. This is, if you guys have a problem, Anthony's the one bringing this. He egged me on. He told me, hey, Juan, go with all your crazy theories. All right.
No, so it's just back to the Muay Thai. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like we had to deal with this in judo also. So this isn't something brand new or crazy, or this hasn't happened before. How dare Muay Thai do this? Judo had to go through the same thing. And like, that's where I can see
we're still going through it. It's just people are starting their own, like, oh, we're old school judo. What was it? Carl Geist judo. Like There's like a bunch of fringe stuff out there that honestly, I'm happy is not gaining any traction.
So why are you talking about it then? Oh, if Kano was around, you would have had Yakuza at your door already. You would have had Aaron Wolf at your door already telling you shut down. All right. Oh shit, Aaron Wolf, how you doing? Would you like to train some? Can I offer
You're just saying that because you know I'm scared of him. So I'm not scared. I'm not scared of Teddy, but I'm scared of Aaron Wolf.
Not scared of Teddy. Teddy's like it's 10 feet tall.
At least seems like a nice guy. That's why.
Mr. Rainier, can I offer you some cheese? I got some California sparkling for you. Would you like some? All right, so go ahead. Go back to the Muay Thai thing, okay? It's back to the Muay Thai.
Yeah, I don't know what else we can say. Like, it's just we'll just have to see how it pans out. I just think other promotions will get enveloped by this, or maybe one championship will just stop promoting inside Muay Thai. Inside Thailand. I think they're either going to change the name, or they're going to just keep it outside of Thailand, or they're going to just pay. Like, they have a lot of money, right? So they might just like pay their way through it. So yeah,
just pay them off.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just the whole thing to me. Like, what are they going to call it then? They can't call it kickboxing, like, because kickboxing is already its own name and stuff. But here's the thing: kickboxing already allows, like, depending, I guess, because even kickboxing is like K1 rules or ISK.
Well, like you said, Muay Thai kickboxing. That's because when people ask me, like in the past, when people ask me what Muay Thai is, I'm just like, it's Thai kickboxing. That's what literally I told them, it's Thai kickboxing. And then they're like, how's that different from kickboxing? Then I explain the rules, but like, if they really want to know, but otherwise that's how you just describe it, Thai kickboxing.
All right. Well, there's something to look out for people. Who knows what's going to come of it? They're just suing them right now. So let's just see if it actually goes to trial or something. I don't know how the law works in Thailand. So it's something to look out there for. And
just like any other countries, the person with the most money wins. I mean, look at Elon Musk.
Oh, Anthony, you talk about me getting heat. I swear.
Hey, that's a universal truth that everyone can agree on, even the rich people.
Oh yes. All right. So the thing that I wanted to ask Anthony first about how you doing is that, so Anthony has a precondition to getting staph easily. All right.
Don't say that. It's been like 2 years since I got staph last time.
He's had staph many times.
No, just
what came up is that, so it came up on my feed and stuff about some gym having a really bad ringworm infection. They had to throw away their mats and clean up everything and stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about, like,
throw away the mats, really? Wow.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to take the chance or nothing. It was a really weird article I read about just being clean. You're keeping your dojo clean. And it was a weird rabbit hole I went into. I saw this one video, then I read another article, then I watched another video. And just one day at work, I was just going through just all this stuff. And that same night, I went back to the dojo. I started cleaning after class. I was cleaning like everything, like super clean. More clean than I usually do, because I was just worried about stuff. So we want to talk about keeping your dojo clean and keeping yourself clean. Because, like I said, I jokingly about it, but Anthony has now caught staph. Like, if it's okay to tell everybody.
Yeah, I don't care.
But Anthony caught staph. Okay, this is his. How many times have you caught staph?
Second time.
His second time catch. No, you got it in college too, didn't you?
No,
I
never got.
Are you sure?
Nope. The first time I got staph was that you guys know of was the first time I ever got staph.
Yeah. So Anthony caught staph a second time, and he wants to really. The preconceived notion that if you catch staph, your dojo's dirty, your gi's dirty, you're dirty. Yeah. Which
I think, people are mixing that up with ringworm, because ringworm that's basically what happens.
So Anthony, tell us what the doctor told you about your staph infection, please.
So the first time I got staph, it was so staph is just the type straight bacteria, right? But there's actually many types. So the one that I got this time is called infantigo. Infantigo. And the first time was something else. The first time I got it, it was under my skin. Like I still have a scar from it somewhere here. You can't see it, but it was under my skin. There was a huge lump. I thought it was an ingrown hair at first. And then it got bigger. So I thought it was an ingrown hair got infected, because sometimes it happens on my other spots. I thought it was turned into a pimple, but then it got bigger and more painful. So that's when I know, okay, I need to go see a doctor, right? So I went to urgent care. They cut it open and drained it twice. And let me tell you, that was like, other than my knee surgery, that was the most painful experience I've ever had. Like that, cutting it open. They had to use a local anesthesia to numb it, and it still really hurt. I can't even describe. I can't think of a good way to describe the pain.
Would you say it's more painful than childbirth?
I wouldn't know. I'll let you know in my next life, maybe.
I'm gonna get some heat for that.
So they drained it, and then after they drained it, it came back again. And this is like after a couple of days. I went back to my primary care doctor, and she was like, "You need antibiotics. You can't just drain it." So, gave me some antibiotics to take and drained it again. And it messed my stomach up so bad for like a month. It's not that I was like getting stomach aches or like diarrhea. It just feels like something's wrong, you know? Like you ever like just get like it's like getting motion sickness or seasick without the seasickness. Does that make sense? Like there's something in your stomach just feels off. Okay. So that's what I felt like. Ultimately it went away, obviously, with the antibiotics, but I couldn't train for a while. And this time, if you go on Juan's Instagram, you'll see his video of him showing the move that he did on me. When we were filming that, he was teaching that in class for a while now. So it flared up my eczema. In the past episodes, I talked about how I have eczema. So I get eczema all around the bottom part of my neck here, right around the jawline. And my dermatologist has given me medication for it. So I put it all around my neck, and on my right side, it healed up in a couple of days, but the left side got worse. So I just kept putting on medication, and it never got better. It just started hurting more and more. And I'm like, okay, I think this is ringworm, because I'm like, it doesn't look like the staph that I had last time, but it's like, I think is ringworm, but it's not itching. It hurts, because I think ringworm's supposed to itch. So I went to the urgent care again. They're like, oh yeah, that's staph, and it looks like infantigo. And then basically gave me some ointment, and I also have to stick the ointment up my nose. I'll go into that later on. That's like the worst part about it. And again, antibiotics. And it really hurts. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like my face is on fire kind of thing. So I haven't been sleeping well. It's been better since I took the antibiotics, but it's been itching now. It's starting to itch. So I haven't been sleeping because of that, plus my stomach thing. But both times I asked the doctor, and I'm like, is there something that I did wrong? Like why we clean the mats every day? Like, I haven't been training BJJ. Like, as if you know me, I've been like not been in BJJ. Very on the ground, and he was like, "Oh, grapplers are just more susceptible to it, and like people think staph is only dirty people have it, but actually 30 to 40% of the population actually has staph virus on their skin and their tongue, and a lot of it is also up your nose. That's why they have to stick that ointment in." And he basically says they get infected when you have an open wound. Like, for example, the first time I'm pretty sure is because I was going to class shaving. Before class, I was shaving. So I think that was the cause for the first time I had it. And then this time I'm pretty sure it's because of the eczema. I was scratching it, and that's what caused that to go in. Also, when your immune system is weakened, it would have a higher chance of infection with an open wound. So both times that I caught staph, I was working overtime. I was working weekends and nights and stuff. So I think it probably has to do with that. So
blame the job about it.
Yeah. So when I told people I know that had staph, they were like, oh, it's because you went to the BJJ club. You're on the mat. Your face is on the mat the whole time. I'm like, I haven't been going to BJJ. And then they're like, you should try like the witch hazel tea tree extract. You need to like use some honey ginger. What, like, I'm like, stop. Like, no, I just need antibiotics and rest. Like, and they're like, you got to change the way you wash your gis. I'm like, it has nothing to do with it has not much to do with cleanliness. I'm not going to say it has nothing to do with it, because the doctor did say you want to avoid, it is contagious after you have it, and you want to avoid wearing sweaty stuff for extended periods of time, because it helps the bacteria grow, basically. This is why we tell people to wash their gis all the time. So when we tell you clean the mats and all that stuff, it's not to like get rid of the staph on your body. I'll go into that later, but we don't want like a antibiotic resistant strain to be able to freaking grow on the mats. Like, you don't want to, if you don't clean the mats, it's basically like a breeding ground for bacteria and fungus and stuff. And they can like get stronger and stronger if you don't clean them properly. Right. So that's all it's about. It's not going to prevent you from getting staph 100% if you keep it clean. So in terms of what to do, one of the things that this doctor has told me recently that I've actually read papers about was like different ways of keeping safe. One, wash your uniform, including the belt. So everyone that's been telling me all these stupid, everyone that tells me like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm like, how about washing your belt? You don't wash your belt.
I'm not washing my Bushido away. I'm not washing my Bushido spirit.
So he said wash everything, and also he recommended this disinfectant body cleanser called Hibit Cleanse. Hibit Cleanse, yeah. So basically, that is like, I don't want to say it's diluted bleach, but it's basically like acts like it. And told me to take a shower and then cover it on my body and let it sit for 5 minutes. So for the last like few days, I've been just like sitting standing in the shower with my cell phone. I never bring my phone in the shower, but I had to stand there with the water off and wet and cold, and just like wait 5 minutes for it to decolonize my body, and then rinse it off. And then that's what I've been doing in the last couple of days, and it actually really helped. The ointment they gave me, I don't know what it does, but I'm supposed to stick it up my nose too in a cotton swab. So it gets rid of the colonies of staph bacteria up in my nose. So he was saying if you're a grappler or a martial artist in general, it's a good idea to do that decolonizing with the cleanse, like probably like once a week or a couple times a month. So I'm going to start doing that. I think the bottle is not very expensive, but I'm gonna do that. Yeah. So that's basically the gist of what we do. But we can start talking about how we clean our dojos and stuff, and how most people do it.
So what Anthony was talking about is that how we have this whole stigma that when you hear staph, you think, oh, it's a dirty dojo, it's a dirty place. And how Anthony talked about it, it's not always about that. But it is about, if you don't want to get ringworm or a fungal infection or anything else, you need to be clean. And I know that some dojos and some places don't wipe down the mats every time they train, or don't wipe the mats every time after they train. Or you get some dirty members that are like, oh, I wore this gi yesterday, but I hung up to dry in my house, or I hung up to dry. That's the worst. They hung up to dry in the locker room and they plan to wear it the next day. Like, that's just breeding ground for infection. Yep. You have to be clean. We're grapplers. Okay. Me, myself, I got infantigo at a wrestling tournament, at a wrestling camp when I was in high school. And I got ringworm one time also when I was I can't remember if I was in high school or college when I got ringworm. I can't remember if I got it in wrestling camp or I got it at this BJJ school I was training at. But I got both. This infantigo I got from wrestling, they were like, once I take the antibiotics and stuff and I was doing it, I could actually just, this is back in the 90s. Late 90s. So I was wrestling back then. Oh, I was in high school in the 90s, late 90s. They're just like, yeah, as long as you tape up, because I had it right here in my bicep areas where I had the infantigo. As long as I taped that up so it wouldn't like get in contact with people, and I wore a long sleeve shirt, I could continue practicing. The doctor told me, and I did, because I was going to what we call out here, well, we call in the Bay Area, CCS, other places CIF, and other places country. It's the tournament you go to before you go to state. So I was preparing for that tournament. So I didn't have time to not train. So I had to continue training. And then same thing, the ringworm, I got it from a place. And I remember just when I was doing the antibiotics for it, I was an idiot. I did not that I was stupid. I just didn't know this. And it's something that people might know. You just drop a little knowledge on you. You're not supposed to drink milk and take antibiotics at the same time. Because,
oh, okay. Yeah, I can see why. Yep.
Because that would eliminate the whole thing. I mean, I was taking I like cereal in the morning. So I take my pills in the morning when I first wake up. So I have my cereal, I take my pill and stuff. And apparently didn't get better because I was drinking milk with it. So if you get antibiotics, don't drink milk with it. But yeah, so I can't remember what I got the ringworm. I think I got it on my forearm. I was trying to think where I got it at, but I think I got it on my forearm and stuff, which is about being clean. And this is what my doctor told me. I can't remember if it was during the infantigo or the ring. I think it was a ringworm. The doctor told me this. One, I'm a grappler. So because I'm a grappler, he was asking, well, if you're a grappler, what do you use to clean yourself with? I was like, oh, well, I use this loofah sponge to clean myself with. Because I was like, back in the day, like everyone uses loofah sponge. It's very popular. Some people still do. It says, okay, don't do that. And this is why. You're a grappler. A loofah sponge is scratching the dead skin off you, right? It's like, yeah, it's creating little tiny scratches on you, right? It's like, oh, yeah. And then you're going to grappling after that, right? Or before that. Like, yeah, because I usually take a shower in the morning and then I take a shower at night after I'm done doing my stuff. So you're creating little tiny scratches in you that aren't healing, and then you're going to go grapple. So stuff can get into those scratches, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I never really thought about that. So it's like, yeah, so you really shouldn't use a loofah sponge, even though I know I've heard other jiu-jitsu players and the grapplers be like, oh no, you need to scrub that stuff off you. So this is what my doctor told me. And since I've done a lot of these things, I've never gotten anything since then. I've never gotten ringworm. I haven't gotten staph. I haven't gotten infantigo. I haven't gotten nothing since I started following these rules of the doctor. So when the doctor was like, you just use your hand and use a towel to clean yourself off with, that's enough. The other thing is that you need to make sure your uniform and your gis, your stuff you train in is clean. Don't wear a dirty one. Don't try to like double up like, oh, I wore this earlier in the day. Now it's dry. I'm gonna wear it again. Always wear clean stuff. Second thing, always take a shower after you work out. Because
I might start doing that at the dojo, actually.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to do it at the dojo, but like when you get home and stuff.
Yeah. A lot of people just like get home and then like sit down, have a beer, watch TV. Like
we actually had a problem with one of our college members a few years ago when the guy's a college kid, started doing judo, loved doing judo and stuff. And he started getting really bad acne and stuff around his face. And I was like, hey, dude, are you okay? Is everything all right? Do you like stress acne or what's it? Like, I don't know what's going on, sensei. So I started asking like, so what are you doing? Like, are you washing your face with oatmeal soap? Are you using regular soap? Are you using alcohol? What do you do to wash yourself with? And he's like, oh, well, I take a shower like this in the morning. And that was it. And I was like, well, what about at night after judo? Oh, I just go home and I go to sleep. Like, boom, right there. You need to take a shower after judo. Yep. Okay. Because I don't know if it's fungal infection, what it is. You might want to go see your doctor, but you have to clean up after you grapple. Okay. You have to clean up. I know sometimes we talk about we go out to eat afterwards and stuff. Even if you go out after eat or go drink or have something after class, when you get home, you got to wash up or at least wash your hands and face minimum after you practice. And that's one thing I do.
Those are the most exposed places during practice. So
yeah, especially for judo players, that is. For a grappler, maybe depending what your style is, it's different, but you have to wash your hands and face for practice. Hopefully your gym or dojo has a sink at least you can wash up in. If you don't, carry some antibacterial wipes or some wet wipes with you. You can wipe yourself down if you're going to go out afterwards. The last thing the doctor told me was that I have to keep my house. I mentioned my house. I mean, like, it's going to sound a little sexy now. There's a little dog. All right. You have to keep your bed clean because you sleep in your bed. Your face is touching your pillow. How many times a month do you wash your pillow?
That's actually the most common way of getting pimples too. That your body oil and sweat and dead skin,
yeah. You have to wash your sheets, wash your pillows, wash your pillowcases, wash your blankets, because that is absorbing all that sweat from that night. And if you're going to practice, not taking a shower and then just going straight to bed, what do you think's festering in that now? Now that's a breeding ground for bacteria right there. And I have a little funny, mean, dumb story about that one also, because when I was in college, I was doing BJJ. My girlfriend at the time was spending the night a lot at my house. She was spending the night at my house a lot. She caught staph. I didn't catch staph, but she caught staph. And she's like, how did I catch staph? And I'm like, I have no idea how you caught staph. I got to wash this.
Hey, maybe
right
she was working overtime or studying late.
But I was like, I got to wash these blankets right now. Wash everything. Because I just got worried, like, oh, shoot, I don't want to get staph infection. Did I bring it from the gym? Did I bring it from the gym? Did I put my jacket down or my gi down or my workout pants down on the bed and got soaked in where she sleeps at? It was like really scary. But yeah, she caught staph one time and she got the antibiotics. And it's actually it was the kind of staph where they actually had to open the hole. It was in the side of her, it was actually inside of her
oh God,
the side, and plugged it with cotton to heal from the inside out. So it was that bad. But
that sucks.
You have to stay clean. All right. Like, I don't know why it's so hard for people to do this. If you're a beginner at judo or BJJ or whatever martial art that you're doing, and you can only afford one gi, I get it, but wash it. Okay. If you can't wash it, at least that's to sound horrible. Lysol it. Okay. Get that. What's that?
Please don't such a. Now people are gonna think it's okay.
Lysol to be okay. I'm joking about that, but wash your gi. And judo gis are cheap, well, we're cheaper than BJJ gis at least.
Yeah.
I always say judo gis are cheap, but I forget that prices went up. And I was like, you get a judo gi for $40, a really cheap judo gi, but you can get a judo gi for $40. And if you're a beginner, that's all you need. You need a cheap gi, but keep yourself clean. The reason some of us wear rash guards is one, to sweat more. And this also prevents stuff from getting to you as well.
Yeah.
Wearing a long sleeve rash guard. I know some people like wearing spats because of that also, but protect yourself. Wash your hands, wash your face, wash your uniform, wash your gi. Don't wash your belt. Don't wash your Bushido away. Wash your mats.
Yeah, especially if you store your gi in a bag. I think I've talked about it before. After practice, you need to disinfect it every single time. Mm-hmm. That's why I have a swimming net, like for wet clothes kind of thing, that I put in, so I don't store it in the same bag that I got it in. Then that net, once I get home, I just throw it in the wash with my gi. Yeah. So having staph sucks, man. Like now the pain is kind of over. It's just it's really tired. Like having an infection just makes you really exhausted. So.
Well, it's funny that you keep talking about how, and I know when you get staph, you talk about how fatiguing it is and how tiring you get. Yeah. When I had infantigo, I don't remember being tired about it, like just more than normal. But I was training to get to that tournament, so I had no time to be tired. And then same thing with ringworm. Like, I don't remember it fatiguing me. I do remember ringworm being very itchy. So what I would do, and this is if it's on your body, okay? Anthony got around his neck. He can't do this, but I would get some the sports tape it around it, so that way I can kind of scratch the sports tape and not scratch the actual infection. Mm-hmm. And I was telling Anthony, like, maybe you should wear a scarf so you kind of scratch the scarf, but not the infection. But
I've just been microwaving a towel with water on it so it gets hot, nice and hot, and then I just like put it on there. It's so soothing. Like it feels pretty good too. Like if you go to a hair salon or a barber shop, that's what they do too. Like a nice hot towel, it just feels good. So,
but here's a question for you, Anthony, since you brought it up. Why did you shave right before coming to judo?
That was before. That was the first time. No, that was the first time. That was the first time. Because I hate it when I do. It wasn't for judo. It was mostly for BJJ. Because I hate it when people who don't shave or have a beard and they drive their freaking face onto your face. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So I don't want to do that to other. I wouldn't do things to people that I wouldn't want them to do to me. So.
That's just something I would never do. I would never shave unless I had to, like if I work in more.
I think in judo it doesn't matter as much because I'm not like grinding my face into people's faces or necks. We're mostly doing stand up, but in BJJ it happens all the time. It was really obnoxious too, and it's kind of disgusting. Someone's like wet beard, wet chest hair, like on your face. It's just
that can get disgusting sometimes.
Yeah,
but. Yeah. So if you get staph, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're dirty. It just means that something around you was like, you're not a dirty person. Like I mess with Anthony and be like, oh, you dirty man now. You dirty boy. But
I'm just very sick of hearing the, not just that, but just the, what do you call it? Homeopathic solutions that people have for me. That's it's like listening to my mom talking about like feng shui or like superstitious stuff. It's just, it's like, I'm already tired and exhausted and stressed enough, and you're just making things worse by telling me to do like this like rain dance thing, then go like boil some ginger and do some crazy thing. But yeah, so
no, it's just, that's the only thing you do. Just tell yourself that preventative measures are always the best. Like I keep saying this again, so it gets drilled in some people's heads, because some people are always going to think that it's not me, I'm okay. I put my gi out in the sun, it's going to bleach it out and kill it. It's like, it may not, but what's so hard about just washing your gi or bringing in a new gi, you know?
Yeah, and the last thing for me, it's basically if you have anything that you suspect to be an infection or a skin problem, go get it looked at. Don't just keep training. You're gonna don't do what that one BJJ club did that had a freaking outbreak, and then it screwed over one of the competitors that couldn't go to ADCC or Pan Ams or whatever, because they had like, was it pink eye or some? They had something. They had something, and the whole club basically got it, and then screwed over someone's competition, or maybe someone's getting married. You screwed over their wedding, you know. So, just don't do that.
That's another thing right there. Since you brought up pink eye. I'm not saying it's like hard. Now,
pink eye is dirty. It's because you don't wash your hands.
Yeah, pink eye is super dirty. Okay, but pink eye is highly contagious. Like, I don't know if it was for your guys' school, but I remember when I was a kid, like middle school, elementary, high school, like all the schools. If someone got pink eye, like your entire class got quarantined. It's like your entire class, like, okay, everybody out. Everybody gets the week off school now because someone in class got pink eye and it's so contagious. They don't want no one having it. So if your gym or dojo, whatever, someone catches pink eye,
it's really painful too. I heard
everything. You don't know? You didn't get pink eye?
I never got pink eye, but my sister has, and she said it was really painful. Plus, pink eye comes from fecal matter. I don't know if people know that. It comes from fecal matter, basically. So you didn't freaking wash your hands after you went to the bathroom, and then you rubbed your eyes, basically. That's
someone did number two, touch something, and then you touch your eye. That's when you get pink eye. Okay.
Yep. So,
and that actually brings up to another good point there, is that like this would be something for most dojos should do this. If you leave the mat area, you should have a pair of shoes or sandals there so you can wear. So when you walk outside or walk on the linoleum or walk out wherever your mat area is, you're not bringing stuff onto the mat. All right. And for us, like we have a bathroom very close to our dojo. Like if you look behind me right here, behind this, where's it? Right behind this door right here is the men's bathroom. It's very close. And sometimes I'll see people get off the mat with no shoes on, run to the bathroom.
I make them bleach wipe their feet before they're allowed to come back.
Run to the bathroom real quick and be like, okay, come back. Like, no, what are you doing? Why didn't you put on sandals? Why didn't you put on your shoes? Oh, I just had to go to the restroom real quick. You know what people do inside there, right? And now you're walking on that and you're going to bring it inside the dojo, and then it'll look at you like, what?
Yeah. And then you do Newaza and now your face is on it.
So always bring a pair of sandals with you or a pair of shoes if you go to the restroom, or put on some socks or something. Do not walk barefoot into a bathroom and then decide to come onto a mat area. That is how pink eye gets spread. That's how other diseases get spread as well.
It's just a little side rant, but I was talking to my wife the other day about how I hate how American bathrooms are designed compared to like the ones I had when I lived in Asia and Japan. Is that usually the toilet itself is in its own separate room. Like, and if you need to take a shower, someone else can still use the bathroom if you only have one bathroom, right? Two, again, it doesn't stink up the whole place, and this guy can't use the shower after because you took a dump. But also people here especially store their toothbrushes in the same sink that the bathroom is, and you can look up YouTube videos. They've studied how much fecal matter from people flushing their freaking toilets. This is why I always close my toilet seat before I flush. Yeah. Because once you flush, the water just like splashes everywhere, and the fecal matter flies everywhere, and then it goes in your toothbrush, and then you're freaking like putting it in your mouth afterwards, you know? So I always either have a cover on my toothbrush if I am storing it somewhere near there, or I'll put it in a cabinet or something so it doesn't do that. But that's just a small rant about how American bathrooms are designed is kind of stupid. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. We actually did that experiment in high school. We got those little Petri dishes and went to the men's restroom and we flushed the toilet to see like how much sprays out. We flushed the urinal to see how much flushed out. And they went to the women's restroom. They did it for theirs. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to reveal it. You'd be actually surprised the results if you actually look it up and do it yourself. But yeah, like it shows how much gets sprayed out and how dirty certain areas were that people were just surprised. And when I learned that, I was like, okay, like I always close the lid. All right. That's one thing. Always close the lid. And I always keep my toothbrush very far away from the toilet. That's just one thing I do. So it's a little thing for you guys to think about. All right. So Anthony, is there anything else you want to talk about being clean and keeping yourself safe?
So one thing, it just reminded me of how people don't wash their hands. Like you go to the public restroom and you just see people walking out, or they just wet their hands and then they walk out.
I call people out all the time. If I see someone walking
especially
out,
in restaurants,
like, hey, you're not gonna wash your hands.
Especially in restaurants, and you see that guy like shaking other people's hands afterwards. And I mean, the funniest comment I've read online was someone saying like, "Why do I need to wash my hands after I pee?" Like, especially if I don't like touch anything. Like, you know, some urinals, they auto flush and everything.
Yeah,
they're like, if anything, I want to wash my hands before I pee because I'm going to touch my genitals. I'm just like, what?
I had a guy in high school argue that it's just like touching your finger. When you go to the restroom, why do you have to wash your hands? It's just like touching your finger. You have to wash your fingers. I was like, oh my God. And here's a funny thing. We actually did an episode of, oh my God, I can't remember what the name of the show was now, but it was a Showtime show. And there was an episode about they find out in the office that this one guy doesn't wash his hands because he mummifies his hand. So in the episode, he pulls enough toilet paper around his hand that he calls it mummification. So he cleans himself and throws it in the toilet so he doesn't have to wash his hands. And the whole episode is just about like how disgusting it was. And the whole joke was that now he's touching the peanuts at the bar that they're eating. And everyone's like, no, you get to eat those now. No one else is touching them. He's like, no, but I mummify my hands. House of Cards. That's what it was. It was on House of Cards when I was working on that show. We did an episode about that.
People don't wash their hands, like are really taking for granted some of the modern science we have when it comes to waste disposal and like sanitation. Like that's why like the whole Oregon Trail dying of dysentery thing is like a thing back then. So
dysentery, what's that? When things are dirty, like some water. All right. All right. So is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's it.
Clean. All right. So these are just some things that help you out there to be clean. Preventative measures like we told you about. You don't want to be like Anthony getting staph infection all the time and be very susceptible to it.
So I guess like, yeah, the skin's your largest organ in your body and it protects you from the first line of defense, right? From stuff outside. So cover up your cuts. And also, I guess, rest well, I guess is what I was going to say. Cause I was going to go to Japan, remember, this March, and I'm glad I decided not to because my schedule is already so packed that I'm getting sick from all this. So yeah. So also rest up, stay healthy just so your body can fight off infections easier. Yeah.
Another thing I just want to say before we end the show is that I want to thank everybody for giving us a good feedback. We got a lot of feedback from the last episode we did.
Yeah, it was really good.
We appreciate all of it, and I will run for president one day of IGF. No, I'm joking.
But don't you have to be 45 to run or something? 35, 45? I don't remember.
For the U.S. presidency?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to be 35. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm almost there.
You're almost there. Yes. Anthony is almost there. He can run for president soon. All right. Vote for Anthony. Go for Anthony. All right. So, like always, please like, share, and subscribe. If you guys want to send us anything, you send it to us at tatamitalk@gmail.com. You want to follow us, you follow us at YouTube at Tatami Talk. Follow us on Instagram, Tatami Talk. You want to follow me on Instagram, it is the Jerry_1. You follow Anthony, it's Anthony Thrills on Instagram. Anthony, is there anything I'm forgetting right there?
Nope.
All right. So with that, don't forget to
slap the mat.